We were just talking about the 49ers. And even Kyle Draper, who's not the biggest Niner fan, says everything's setting up for him. Was he just being nice or did he mean it? Are the 49ers ready to go here? Let's find out. Nice enough to join us as he does every week. NBC Sports Bay Area 49er pregame and postgame live analyst, Rod Brooks. How are you today, Rod?
Fellas, put your hands where my eyes can see. Y'all always had the best bumper music, man. Always.
Yes, sir.
Hey, Rod, before we get to the Niners, we were just talking about Steve Kerr, you being a Bay Area guy. How warm of a welcome do you think he's going to get in Boston tonight?
Oh, man, they're going to love him unconditionally, dog. It's going to be just – hey, listen, y'all know how Boston fans are. They are very forgiving and mild-mannered and, hey, just like Philly fans, they understand nuance and subtlety.
Yes.
So, yeah, Steve Kerr's it's going to be nothing but roses and kisses tonight.
Yeah, absolutely.
Roses and kisses.
Is it roses and kisses for the 49ers right now, Rod? What's the word on how CMC looks so far? What do you think his workload will be against Tampa Bay?
He's looking good. He had no setbacks last week. He had no setbacks leading up to practice today. We don't get a chance to see practice, but in the bit that we do get to see, he was looking quick. He was looking explosive. He's ready to go. So there are no setbacks. I'm really excited about McCaffrey in two areas. I'm excited about the third down package they're going to have for him. And I'm really excited to see what Kyle Shanahan is going to cook up red zone package-wise for Christian McCaffrey. I think that's where he's going to pay dividends immediately. So talking to John Lynch last week, he's not necessarily going to be on a snap count, but they're also not going to be crazy how they use him. And I believe I mentioned this last week. Things are different now with the Niners running backs because they have Mason coming into his own. Isaac Guerrero is getting more and more comfortable with every snap that he takes. So while McCaffrey's better than those two and having him on the field makes the Niners a better team, they don't have to use McCaffrey as much as they did last year because they have other options at running back. But I'm telling you, man, I think the red zone plays that Kyle Shanahan is going to draw up, it's going to have Tampa looking real silly out there trying to cover him.
Dang. Okay. All right. I don't know if I'm correct. A few weeks ago, you called Arizona trash or not a good football team. So I don't know, Rod, man. You might be jinxing the squad right now, bro.
Well, I still don't think Arizona's all that good of a football team. And if the Niners did make some mistakes, they wouldn't have lost that game by one. But the numbers don't lie. Listen, to me, this is going to be a line of scrimmage game for the Niners. They can handle Tampa's defensive front with one of my favorite players, Vita Vea. If they can handle Tampa's front and Tampa's blitz package, which is the only way they could get pressure, the Niners skill position players are going to take over. On the other side, Tampa's got the best offensive line in football. But if the Niners can stop their run game, and that's Tampa's bread and butter, they're top 10 in running the ball, just as Arizona was, and that was a problem for the Niners. But if the Niners D-line can put up a good fight and stop Tampa's run game, Tampa, they don't have the wide receivers. Cade Otton is their guy and really the only guy that's trusted by Baker Mayfield. And then you look at the back half of Tampa's defense, like the Niners they're winning in skill position on offense and on defense. Tampa's got the 20th ranked pass defense in all of the NFL. So for me, it's the Niners, if they don't make mistakes, as they did against Arizona, as they did against the Rams, I think the two worst losses of the season for the Niners, this is a game that they should handily take care of.
Dang. I'm looking at my boy Baker Mayfield and that Tampa Bay squad. They gave the Chiefs all they could handle on the road. I mean, and I understand the injuries and everything like that, Rod, but this is a cardinal sin that you're committing right now, disrespecting the opponent. Like, look at the Niners this season and look at the teams they've actually beat. They've beaten the dregs of the NFL. And so I get it. The personnel, Rod, sounds great. The names on the back of the jersey sounds great. But the Niners are an average team right now.
And the Niners are getting back Christian McCaffrey and Jawan Jennings, which makes them a better team. It makes them a better team than what they had when they faced Arizona, and it makes them a better team than Tampa, which, my mistake, they don't have the 20th ranked passing defense. Tampa has the 30th ranked passing defense.
Ooh.
and this is a short week coming off of that overtime game in Kansas City last week. I know what you're trying to do, Drapes. I understand how it works. You a Philly hater. I get it. I understand it. You're deflecting because Nick Sirianni couldn't coach his way out of a wet paper bag, and the Eagles are winning despite his silliness. I get what you're doing, but that's fine. I'm not
what's our record? We're handling. Don't put the Eagles in your mouth, big fella. We're handling our business. We're taking care of our business.
Hey, you're handling your business. It's looking good, but you know as well as I do. Nick Sirianni can't coach, and he's going to be the reason you guys don't win. But you're doing fine right now. But listen, you said it's about we can mention names on the back of the jersey and personnel. The NFL is a personnel game, and specifically, it is a skill position personnel game. And if you look at both of these rosters, Tampa and the Niners, who's winning the skill position battles on both sides? The Niners, every step of the way. Don't front. Don't front.
Don't front.
Rod Brooks, 49er analyst, post-game, pre-game live on NBC Sports, Bay Area. Rod, you may have just answered this question through the back door with your last answer, but why didn't the 49ers do more at the trade deadline?
Well, for them, they got what they needed. What they needed was extra help on that defensive line, which is why they got Davis from the Texans. And I believe I said this, with you guys over the past couple of weeks when everyone was thinking about they should get themselves a wide receiver. My biggest issue for the Niners was one that they addressed, and it's part of the reason why they didn't beat the Rams and why they didn't beat the Arizona Cardinals, is that the Niners up the middle, stopping the run, not nearly as good as they needed to be. And so going out and getting Davis from the Texans, along with integrating these young guys like Evan Anderson and Stan Mokwanu and some of the veteran guys they have, they addressed the need that they absolutely had to address. But this idea, and listen, I would have loved to see DeForest Buckner come back. I would have loved to have seen them get Ojulari from the Giants, but the Niners are kind of up against it salary cap-wise, and they don't necessarily have draft picks to go out there and throw around. And this is the Niners' fault because of what happened, what they did in the with the Trey Lance situation. They had to shop, sort of, not necessarily bargain basement, but they had to kind of shop in a different part of the of the department store because of the position that they were in. But, and I said this to somebody earlier today, Davis might not have been the guy that you wanted the Niners to get, but he's exactly what they needed. And look who the Niners have coming up here. Again, Tampa's got a really good run offense. All right, the numbers bear it out. That's where they get their offense from. You're going to have to deal with James Conner again. Kyron Williams can run that ball. Detroit runs the ball very well. Green Bay runs the ball very well. The Niners are going to see team after team after team that's very good at running the ball. They had to do something to shore up the middle of that defense, and I think Talia Davis actually helps them do that.
Hey, Rod, when you look at the NFC and where things stand, is it Detroit and everybody else, or are there a bunch of teams, Washington in that mix, Green Bay in that mix, my Eagles in that mix? What's your power rankings, I guess, in the NFC?
Hey, man, I mean, it's Detroit and everybody else is shooting for second place. I mean, we all watch football, man. That Detroit outfit is dog. They're going out there, and here's the thing. Like Jared Goff, while he's capable of having a game where he's throwing it 40 times and he's spreading it around 350 yards and 3 touchdowns, they don't have to rely on that for them to win. They can run the ball however they want to. Goff can be, sort of an addendum to that, or he can lead them defensively. Even without Hutchinson, they basically do what they want when they want to. I really think that's a Detroit outfit. I just don't think they have any flaws. I really don't. I think everyone else in the NFC, they have a flaw or two. Detroit, man, I mean, you just have to give them credit for who they are and for what they've done. That's a really good outfit. Make sure Eagles are looking good, man. Too. I mean, all nonsense and ribbing aside, that's a good outfit. I still think Sirianni is the coach. I'm not necessarily feeling it. Washington's fun to watch, and I'm giving them all the credit.
Yeah.
I just feel like they're kind of new to the party, but it'd be ridiculous for me to sit here and say a one-loss Washington team isn't all that good. So to me, it's Detroit and everybody else. But I think there's one thing we can agree on. The Dallas Cowboys are hilariously bad, and that is good for the country at large.
Yes.
I got to tell you, though, I like it better when you guys are taking shots at each other than when we're all talking about how good the Eagles are.
Right.
Yeah, I don't. That little of that goes a long way.
Finally, you guys coming around to my
But
side.
I get it. I get it. We are contractually obligated, Rod, to ask you one Brock Purdy question. So, if the Niners continue to face a lot of man-to-man coverage, are we going to see Brock Purdy run even more?
Yeah, I think so. And here's what's going to be interesting. And this goes back to getting Christian McCaffrey back and Juwan Jennings as well. You know, part of the problem for the Niners is when they get manned up, they didn't have guys that could break that man coverage. They didn't have guys who could get who could get away from it. And that was causing Purdy to hang on to the ball and move around and try and fit the ball in the places that he didn't necessarily want to. I think the first half of the Cowboy game and then the second half of the Cowboy game sort of flipped the switch in Brock Purdy. He was trying to do a little too much in the first half of the Cowboy game. Second half of the Cowboy game, the Niners started to run the ball better. He started to use George Kittle. He started to do things more around the line of scrimmage. And that's more Niners football with Brock Purdy at quarterback. So long way of answering your question. Now that you're getting McCaffrey back, you know, Debo's is kind of dealing with the rib thing, but he's getting into the mix. And with Juwan Jennings, now you have guys that can put some pressure on man coverage and be able to break it. So he'll be able to go downfield. But then now they're going to have to get in the zone. And when they get into zone, that's where Brock Purdy really starts to pick up. And that's where Brock Purdy really starts to spread the ball around. And with Tampa, like I said before, it's a Todd Bowles team. They blitz. That's how they get pressure. If they can hold that up and they can get into that zone, I really do think that this game is not going to be close on Sunday. I really do.
And in terms, my final question, Rod, in terms of CMC, what happens with JP Mason and Gindo going forward? I mean, we saw how much CMC was used last season. I imagine they bring him along slowly, but even when CMC is at full strength, you know, is it imperative that Kyle uses some of the other weapons in that backfield?
Oh yeah. But now he doesn't have to use them out of necessity. He can use them and it actually be a part of the Niners' bigger plan offensively. You dig what I'm saying? It's like he didn't we got to get a rest from McCaffrey for a play or a series. Let's just throw Mason or Gindo out there and hope for the best. No, you put Mason out there. You're going to get a guy who's going to run hard between the tackles. If he gets to that second level, he can either bounce off a guy and make a guy miss, and he can run away from a guy. Gindo is the guy, if he can just really get down to that one cut upfield, he can get to a second level and hit a home run. And Mason is good at picking up blitzes, which is how you stay on the field as an every down back. Gindo, he's not at that point. But I think the bigger picture does remain is that both of those guys are good running backs, and they work within the framework of this, obviously, run-oriented Shanahan offense. So, yeah, they're going to be smart with McCaffrey. Like I said, I think his main impact is going to be on third down and in the red zone. But they're going to be smart with him, but you can use Mason and Gindo, and it's not going to be a situation where the defense, they look and go, oh, okay, McCaffrey's not in there. Now we don't have to worry about those guys. Yes, McCaffrey's better, but if you're not worried about Mason coming at you and either running over you or run by you, then you need to be worried because he's clearly proven that he's one of the best running backs in the league. His yardage numbers prove that.
All right, Rod, thanks. We appreciate it. We'll be watching you on the TV. Enjoy the game. We'll talk to you next week.
Hey, man, be watching you. Always appreciate the time, fellas. We'll talk next week.
All right, thank you. All right, Rod Brooks. Speaking of the 49ers, yeah, take care, Rod. Guess what? Dan Orlovsky says there's an NFC West team on a Super Bowl path, and it's not the Niners.
NFC West team?
It's not the Niners. We'll tell you who it is next. Man. All right. Drive Guys, Sactown Sports.
Black Friday is on its way at Fasteners Inc. Tool Up.